Hello, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mexican Futbol Podcast. This is your host, El Rifado, coming to you from San Diego with my wonderful co host, El Más Sabio, Albert Perez. How are you, mi sabio?
What's up? What's up, Rifado? What's going on? How's this Sunday treating you?
It's treating me great, man. The football gods have favored me well, favored us all well with wonderful football this whole weekend, this whole summer, to be honest. And we're coming off the culmination of a great World Cup, not without some controversies, but I was entertained. Were you entertained, my friend?
Yeah, it was entertaining. We got it was weird. So we had a good 5 weeks of World Cup, but I guess the Liga MX wanted us to to slow us back into things. So just before the World Cup final, we had a jornada of Liga MX action, the first one for the Apertura. So it was it was nice leaving the World Cup and getting situated back with our football.
I hear you. I hear you. I was a little surprised that the league, the Mexican, that the Liga MX decided to start the same weekend that the World Cup was ending. But, I guess we're just so used to a congested schedule that
Yeah,
we
yeah.
really shouldn't be surprised these
But
players get no break.
Rifado, I heard there's still people griping that it showed that the Femex food had no faith in the team in Mexico in the World Cup, and that's why they went ahead. They went ahead and started the tournament before the World Cup ended. I don't see a big deal. I mean, like you said, they have there's the whole soccer calendar is very congested, and with this World Cup that went 5 weeks, it's they got to do what they got to do.
Yeah, I don't have any gripe about it. You can make all the conspiracies you want. Maybe they're right. I wouldn't count the FMF out of any sort of conspiracy. But I guess I don't care that much. If they were too close to another, because like let's say, against all odds, Mexico found themselves in the final, or like even the semifinals. Like it didn't conflict with the matches, right? Like the semifinal between England and France, which England dominated,
You know,
ended, and then
maybe Chivas would have been a little hurt, maybe, but that's about it.
yeah, yeah,
But
and
let's be real, Rifaldo. The people that knew ball didn't think Mexico had enough. That maybe a semifinals run. Maybe that was that was wishful thinking. But I mean, in the final, come on, you got to be real. You got to be real with it. It's
the ball is round, man.
and
It's
you know
11
what?
versus 11,
But still,
I believe.
you gotta know your limitations when you're rolling in a Camry and everybody out and the top dogs are rolling in a Ferrari. It's it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. But on to the World Cup match, the final. It was kind of lackluster. We were just so spoiled in Qatar with I think a 3-3 France Argentina that went to penalties,
But you know what?
and
You know what, Rifaldo? That was Spain. Spain wasn't like everybody thought we were gonna see the Jamal show and Lamine Jamal, and he was, and Spain was gonna run over teams. No, that's not Spanish soccer. Remember, looking back at 2010, it wasn't a spectacular team, but you know what? It's a team that was difficult to beat and knew how to manage games, and again, they've done it again. 16 years later, they have another golden era. They got what they got under Luis de la Fuente. They got they got the Euro. They got no, I'm sorry. They got the Nations League. They got the Euro, and now they have the crown jewel, a World Cup. And a lot of these guys are young. That's the scary part. Kurbarsi and Lamine, they're 19, man. It's scary. Like I said, it wasn't pretty. Spain doesn't do it a pretty way. They do it in an efficient way, and they get it done. And I know some of my Argentine friends got mad, but all rights rule the world. We're balanced again.
It was pretty evident that Spain was the better team throughout the whole match. If you just look at some of the stats, it's 20 goals for Spain. I mean, 20 shots for Spain compared to Argentina's 3, 11 shots on target for Spain, and 0 for Argentina. So Argentina was defending for their lives the majority of the match.
Let's say what is it? If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. some crap like that. But it's like they struggled against Cabo Verde. They struggled against Egypt. They struggled against Switzerland. These are not elite teams. Yeah, they beat England, but you know what? I think Tuchel has a lot to do with his bunkering down. He had a lot to do with it. But it's like, I think Argentina overachieved. I know I've been throwing around that word lately, but I think they overachieved and getting to the final. I think that was more than I expected. In my pre-tournament preview, I had said maybe quarterfinals, but they to me they did more than what I thought. And you know what, Messi, like I said, you at a certain age you get old right away. Like you see it with boxers, you see it with other athletes, and I think today Messi just showed his age. He wasn't a factor.
I would say that he was neutralized in a very pedestrian way.
But he has the magic to impose his will, and the magic wasn't there today.
Late on, Spain gets a goal in the 106th minute, the beginning of the second half of extra time. Argentina was a man down for a long time. It was Enzo Fernandez in the 93rd minute. So it wasn't that long. I thought it was earlier, but I guess not. And but still, like, even when they had Enzo, they were in their half. They couldn't really get possession of the ball. It was 68 for Spain to 32% for Argentina. And they were defending for their lives. And, in hindsight, this was the worst matchup for Argentina because these are both possession-based teams.
Yeah, when you take the ball away from them, if one thing Messi doesn't know how to do, he doesn't know to play without the ball. And we saw why.
Yeah, and I was kind of baffled by Scaloni's tactics, because if they're gonna be defending in their half the whole time, you need someone with blistering pace on the counterattack. And you had Julian Alvarez and Messi as your two gallos, as your two strikers, and none of them are particularly that fast. Alvarez is obviously younger and faster, but Alvarez was defending, was closing channels, was chasing balls, so he wasn't in a position to counter.
It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback, but now everybody's saying, well, if you look at Argentina's bench, it's not that deep. And you know what? Maybe they're onto something now. Like you said, they didn't. He went with those guys, and they needed speed. And you know what? You look at the bench, they didn't have it.
They do have a fast guy, and it was El Cholo's son. What's his name? Juliano. Giuliano Simeone. And he's fast. He's a great winger for Atletico de Madrid, but he almost tied it up late on. His shot, he was in the box. His shot goes over the bar. So in spite of obviously being outclassed, they were very close to tying it in the end. And I don't think it was skill. It was more garra. That's the only thing that Argentina had more of than Spain.
But that garra, like I told you, they used up that garra against Cabo Verde, against Egypt, and against Switzerland, man. That's only going to get you so far at this level, Rifado. The garra, it's only going to get you so far. And I think today, I don't want to say the world champion was a Cinderella, but that carriage turned into a pumpkin.
Yeah, I agree. And the Argentinians lost their heads. Enzo Fernandez with his red card, You know,
Paredes, yeah.
the first yellow for Enzo was for mouthing off.
Yeah.
And the Argentinians had been mouthing off to the refs and anyone and everyone this
But
whole
you know
tournament.
what? But and then you know what? It's like so they did that. But particularly when they feel they're outmatched or they feel underwhelmed. That's what they start doing. At the end, Paredes, I don't know, Paredes thinking he's with Boca Juniors. I don't know what the hell was thinking. He goes and he starts like if it was a Sunday league. Come on, it's a World Cup final.
Yeah,
But you
and
know what?
you're talking about the instance where he shoved Eric Garcia, Barcelona
Yeah,
defender, in the
the game was
face,
already done. I think.
and then Pablo Gavi tried to like step in, and Paredes ended up pushing him down,
Yeah, it's
and
like
then I think with the help of Almada, I mean, and so I hope there's some suspensions for that because
but
that's
it's
just sour grapes.
But you know what?
It
It's
has
just the
we have no place for that.
classic dark arts, and there's no place for that. It's like somebody said, the Argentines don't know how to win and they don't know how to lose. It's like why do that? Like trying to stay face. Like we have more fortitude than you. You beat us, but we're still the boss. It was like come on. It's like. I know
They are
that
the
in South America they're real romantic about that kind of crap, but it's it's like it just shows you were dominated when you have
you
you
know
react
they
with shit like that with stuff like that. I'm sorry.
they're always and the South Americans, but especially the Argentines and the Uruguayans, are the masters of the dark arts. Like there was an instance in which Tagliafico was fouling people, and then 5 minutes later, when someone like I don't know brushes up against his face, he goes down like a sack of potatoes trying to get a foul. There was another instance where Messi was covering his mouth as he was cussing out one of the Spanish players, I think Cucurella. Cucurella covers his mouth and retaliates to him. Messi immediately turns around to go tattle on him to the ref. And so there was a lot of moments without grace. There was a lot of moments,
But more than anything,
descaradas.
it's when they start acting like that, it's because they felt overwhelmed and they just did. You know what? It was just I feel for a great part of the 90 minutes, Spain had their foot on their throat, and they were just like, "We're gonna have you there. We're gonna have you there," and that's what it was. And they couldn't get up, and that's all. It's part of their culture and frustration. That's what it was. It's unfortunate,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, and you know what? Like there was you're right. There's a definitely lack of depth because Fabian Ruiz didn't have a lot of minutes, but he's a player for PSG, and he started today, and when they needed another quality midfielder, they subbed on Pedri, you know, and like who else? Mikel Merino from Arsenal, fantastic season in which they've been crowned Prem champions. He's coming off the bench. Nico Williams, who's phenomenal for
But
Athletic
you know what?
Bilbao.
It's just I think that's just and we're gonna talk about Luis de la Fuente in particular right now. But that just shows what a masterclass de la Fuente had all World Cup. He knew how to make the proper changes. He knew how to manage. Remember, they walked into the tournament with injuries. Lamine Jamal wasn't 100%, so they didn't look good against Cabo Verde. But he just went managing. Especially with this new format, it's a very long tournament. It adds another game of angst, which is that round of 16. So you gotta manage, and he made the moves throughout. He was a good chess player. He made the moves, and I always said Spain was gonna go from least to most, and they ended up in most, and all the credit to them. They weren't spectacular, but these tournaments they're meant to be won, not to look pretty. Look at Brazil back in the 80s. They razzle dazzled, but they couldn't bring it home.
You mentioned De La Fuente. Yes, he's obviously great. Consistently good, winning the Euros against England. What's it called? The Nations League that you mentioned, and now the World Cup. And I believe he's from their youth development.
Yeah, well,
So
we're gonna talk about Luis de la Fuente. Right? Should we segue into the next topic?
Yeah. Let's
All
segue
right. Since you want to talk about let's
into
segue.
Spain. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk. Not particularly Spain. Well, what can Mexico take from this victory? Obviously, Mexico needs to work on talent, but I think organizational wise, there's a lot Mexico could take from. And let's jump into De La Fuente. De La Fuente, prior to his stint with the senior team, he was part of their youth system, and he won a lot of stuff. He won a Euro under 21, which is their main title at that age, and then he also won the silver in the Tokyo Games. So this guy was just so he. But the thing was that he went working with like his batch of players. Like Unai Simon was one of them. So he had like 5 guys that he had worked with since those youth teams that he was bringing up. But he was also working with Luis Enrique. So after the 2022 World Cup, he takes over, but he adjusts. So not only does he so he keeps his base, but he incorporates guys like Nico Williams, like Yamal, and he's like I told you, he won the Nations League, the Euro. So this guy, and like you said, he has a youth background. He doesn't have a lot of flight in La Liga. He's just a couple seasons with Atletico Bilbao, but most of his work is with the Bilbao's youth system and just working with Spain in the youth system. So this guy is he works better molding young minds, and I think with Mexico, where there's with the lack of elite talent, that's what I think Rafa could be that guy, because he had that experience with Masia, a guy that starts working with the young guys, and he obviously De La Fuente had that luxury at the youth teams, and Marquez is with the seniors, so his leash must be shorter, but it's work with the young guys. And another thing, also De La Fuente, he just continued that lineage of Spanish football that we've seen for quite a while. The possession base, the solid midfield. But like I said, he knew how to adapt, and he went a little more frontal with the weapons he had. I mean, he could do that with a guy like Williams and obviously Jamal. So he would attack more through the sides, and send crosses in, and because Spain usually like to attack through the middle, build everything with the tiki taka. So he modified, but the essence is the same, and that's what Mexico needs to do, especially in the Marquez, is they need to find an identity and roll with it. But it's not just for the senior team. Like everybody in the system, they need to buy into that style, and I think that's one of the things that Marquez wants to do. Like he wants to be a heavy influence in the youth teams, and like I told you, Spain's a good example. They have an identity. Everybody plays the same. Like I said, they adapt, but it's the possession based play is there. It's you could see it back when they won in 2010, and you could see it now. So it's like 2 takeaways: work with the youth, have a serious process, and just finally just identify a style and run with it. I don't know what you think, Rifado.
I agree. I just want to point out one thing. There is currently, in this Spain squad, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 current Barcelona players in this call-up.
Well, that helps too. And just back in 2010.
And then there's like 2 more La Masia graduates who play for other teams, like Grimaldo and who else? There's another guy somewhere plays for another team now.
But look, Rifado, he's been working with a base of players, and this team, he had 5 guys he was working since the under 20s. He had Merino, Dani Olmo, Oyarzabal, Fabian Ruiz, and Simoe. Most of them starters. So
Procesos. You're talking about procesos.
Yeah, there were starters, and it's he's following. But you said they had a lot of Barcelona guys. Yeah, they have a lot of Barcelona guys. But look, this guy has been working his base with the team for a while.
Yeah. So like I guess I just want I do agree. Like I want to talk about, or I want to hop on to the idea of procesos, right? You have these kids, you work them in the U17, and then they graduate to the U20, and then the U23, and then they're integrated into the senior national team. But this what has to mirror this national team, this U20 to senior national team rise, is club form. You have to have them in the subs, and then you have to graduate them to the club, and then sell them, or play them somewhere, or keep playing them in the club.
But obviously, being that Mexico's Mexico and it's not La Liga and it's not Barcelona, it's like you're gonna have to do things a little differently and base everything.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I disagree, man.
What are you saying? Chivas should be the base?
Yeah, absolutely, bro. I think the smart move would be to have people with great chemistry with one another, and if they're all playing for the same club, that's the best way to achieve that. And who has the most Mexicans and who has the most Mexican good prospects is Chivas de Guadalajara. Who's producing these guys is Chivas.
Like I said, but we're gonna go back to this conversation that we had in the first episode. It's like, but these guys need to be talented. So the soccer. The good soccer.
I see a lot of talent,
but it's not a Liga MX. You need these guys in pressure situations, and that's in Europe. So it's like you got to take from here, then you got to take from what the South American teams do, which all the good teams, they have most of their players over there. So it has to be a combination of things. They can't be afforded the luxury of Spain that Spain has with Barcelona. But imagine that Barcelona was the foundation of their 2010 and the foundation now. It's like
I don't see why Mexico can't do that with Chivas. And the thing is like we have a healthy league. We have a healthy league. We have a healthy league. We have good money. We can retain players. They're playing in an expanding environment, North America.
Agree to disagree.
It's always expanding. And there's been rumors of us returning to South American club football, like Libertadores, maybe Sudamericana.
But prime soccer, the type of soccer that's gonna help you deal with those pressure situations that we saw in those first 2 goals against England from Mexico, it's playing those Champions League, those type of Champions Leagues.
Historically speaking, Mexico has been the best when they've been playing with a domestic side. We tried playing European players. We didn't transcend with them. So okay. I don't agree with the idea that we need to export our talent. Like we just need them playing maybe South American football and keep playing here. Keep appreciating the football here.
Rifado, don't mean to cut you off, but talking about talent, let's talk about who's joining us today. We got Melissa Castro from the Mexican Futbol State of Mind. How's it going? Did I said it right?
Hi, guys.
Hello,
can you guys
Melissa.
Hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine. Okay. How are you? Thanks for coming on.
Tell us a little about where do you write and what do you do, and just tell us about yourself.
Well, I write for FMF State of Mind. It's a blog on SB Nation where we cover everything Mexican soccer, but in English.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a market that's been around for a while, actually.
Yeah. It's This podcast is a product of that. We think it's an emerging market. It's like our TikTok videos from with Brian Gutierrez they've done wonders for us, haven't they, Rifado?
They have. I think I have like 50,000 for a Brian Gutierrez video.
I have on TikTok. I'm almost close to 1 million on the that he chose the USA. That he chose Mexico over USA because of Chivas. So and hopefully we can talk to him in a couple of weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, Melissa. So we were just wrapping up our World Cup final. Before
Oh
we
my
segue
goodness.
onto, well, we wanted to talk to you about Femenil, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the World Cup final before we segue to
Oh my God.
some Liga MX Femenil.
Well, here's Messi's the GOAT, first of all. Messi is the GOAT. I know a lot of people don't like him. I do agree
I
with
came around to it. I
came
think he
around.
is. I think he is. I wasn't a fan, but at his age,
Yeah.
the type of goals he was doing, how he carried that team, I'd give it to him.
Hey, it wasn't like this World Cup, their tournament, he just did nothing. He had a lot of contributions to the team.
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
just his
yeah.
goals, but he did so much. And you're like, at 39, and
Yeah.
he's still doing
Well,
that.
the team was Messi dependent, and that shows you. Look, like I said, they did overachieve, but you know what? It's just Messi's greatness. It carried them through, and you know what? And like Scaloni said, it's very hard to make a final, regardless of. I know there's a lot of people. Oh, they had an easy path, but it's not easy to do.
You know,
And you
just to
wonder
add
what
some
they're going to
context.
do once Messi leaves.
Yeah, it's
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think everyone dreads that. But just to add some context to our listeners, in 8 matches, Messi scored 8 goals and had 4 assists. So he absolutely did a spectacular job and earned the mantle of the GOAT. So, you know, it's a tragedy that he didn't win it, but he definitely had a successful World Cup as far as an individual contributor is concerned. It's just phenomenal. Look, those numbers are amazing.
Okay.
100%.
Now let's go into the fabulous Liga MX. What we're really here for. Let's talk about la jornada uno de la apertura of the apertura 2026. First of all, let's we're a professional blog here, but we have our heart. Me and Rifado have been known to be Chivas fans. What do you follow? Are
yes.
Are you a Chiva hermana?
Yes, I covered
Okay.
Club America, but that was because I know that's weird. You're like a Chiva hermana covering Club America, because when I hopped on to FMF State of Mind, Club America was the only grande that wasn't covered on the site.
Yeah.
And so my editor at the time was like, well, I know you're Chiva hermana, but we need that. We need Club America coverage.
Yeah.
So here you go. So it was thrown on me, okay?
Hey, you can be professional, but you can still have your heart. I
Exactly.
When I was working for the Sporting News, America was our top click getter. So I had to I had to eat. So
Yeah.
Nah, but you're a professional. You're a journalist. You got to be professional and cover it down the middle. And it's like, but yeah, surprisingly, it's like we were in the cantina. So we come from La Cantina MX apart, and it's like it just seems like Chiva hermanos like to podcast, because we've obviously this week we're gonna have a big guest, Ivan from the Eagle Eye podcast, but it's like they're like it's like there's more Chiva hermanos out there talking. Liga
I've never
MX
met him, but I
English.
know of him.
yeah,
I know
he's
that whole
he's
coverage. It was so sad when it
yeah.
went away. But
Yeah. So
I agree.
we're gonna talk to him about that, and it's just that the guy when it comes to America in English news, I think that guy he's the expert. He knows what he's talking about, and he's gotten tweets retweeted by Mexican journalists, so he's a respectable source. So we look
Yeah.
forward to talk to him. But hey, let's jump into the matter at hand. Jornada uno started. What was it? Thursday. It started on Thursday, and we had a couple games, if I'm not mistaken. So we had Atlante return to Primera División via the purchase of Mazatlán. They beat Necaxa 2-1. And then in what was a surprise to me, it was Club Tijuana beat Tigres 3-1. Any opinions on those games, guys?
So the Cholos game, what a way to start it. And so you had Alex Padilla give an assist. We just recently sold him from Chivas to Cholos. And then you had another jovenazo, Ramiro Arciga, score in the 32nd minute. And then you had 2 late goals from Murad El Ghezouani. I think he's Egyptian. And
Or Moroccan, no? Is that Moroccan?
oh, he's Moroccan. You're right. You're right. He's
Yeah,
Moroccan.
because in the Cantina MX chat we said, ya no superó Marruecos.
But El Loco Abreu's got a good cosecha. He's got an interesting project at Cholos. I'm excited for it. You have jovenazos like Padilla, El Loquito Abreu, and Arciga. So I'm keeping one eye on los Cholos de Tijuana, and I think it's safe to say that they're going to be like a maybe in the Liguilla again.
Yeah,
I think it's been two tournaments in a row, and it looks like they're aiming to make it three, which is so great compared to the Piojo Herrera days in which they weren't qualifying and
Well,
and they look pretty bad.
Well, Rifado, for a while there, a lot of people were saying, does the Tijuana even deserve a team? Like, the leader, the ownership just wasn't investing, and they got something cooking there. I mean, they're having good players like Mora, Castañeda. It's something there. Like Melissa, what do you think is going on with Cholos that they're starting to becoming players again?
I think it was just the coach.
You think it was coach?
No disrespect to his Piojo. We know that he's had success, but I think now he's not the same anymore. Mm-hmm. Because how is it that after he left, all of a sudden, things started kind of coming together? Obviously not immediately,
and
but
remember,
you could see
Piojo didn't get off the good foot, losing 2-1 with Atlanta, and Necaxa. So you may be onto something.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe it's just the coaching, but what Tijuana is doing, I think they're finally kind of clawing their way up. And obviously they got a plan for a team without Gilberto, because let's be real, once he turns 18, he's leaving. They're going to get great money for him, right? The clause, how much is it, like 20 million or something like that? So
that's been the rumor.
Really
I think they have 6 more months with him.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Did you find something wrong with him showing up to the Norway game wearing a Norway shirt? And then obviously, in hindsight, this weekend we saw why it happened. He was with Rafaela Pimento, which is Haaland's manager, and she told him where it is, and it looked like a PR move. What do you think? Do you think he should have shown some pride, or he's a kid and it's just a PR move because people are talking about him now?
I didn't know people were talking about that.
Oh yeah,
people
there
had an issue
Mexico,
with it.
Yeah, people. Yeah, there's Enrique Beas from Mexico who was saying that it shows that we don't have culture like in Argentina. Like you wouldn't.
Marayistas, man. That's all it is.
But it's not a big deal. First of all, the kid is 17. He's having fun. And
That's his agent. They all share the same agent.
And it's his agent. And it's a PR move because why? He appeared in Haaland's blog video. And now everybody's he's everywhere, so he's in people's mouths now. So to be a major superstar and to earn those big bucks, it's not just on the field. You need to have a profile because these teams got to see. Okay, we could profit off his image too. So it's all a big package. So I think it was I considering the kid, he's 17. I didn't see a big deal with it.
Me neither.
And I didn't know it was a big deal.
And then also they were also hammering Jimenez because he showed up on vacation with I think the shirt that he exchanged with Harry Kane. So that was people were making a big deal again. Oh, we don't have a culture like you wouldn't see this in Argentina. Relax. The guy plays in England. He was vacationing. I mean, it's a cool jersey. I think nobody's gonna. But hey, what can I do? All right, moving on, guys. Moving on. Oh, you were saying something, Rifado?
Nothing. Well, I guess I'm interested in what Melissa thought of the Querétaro versus Club América match, given that she is an expert with Club América.
We'll get there, Rifado. We'll get there. We'll get there. Don't worry. Let's talk about the champs first, Rifado. I don't mean to cut you off, but we got to talk about the campeones. We got to talk about Cruz Azul, who started losing 2-0, and everybody was like, fraud, and you know what? They turned it around. They they turned it around. So Cruz Azul basically had the same lineup that they won the title with. The only difference that they had Lira in there, which everybody thought Lira was going to leave after the World Cup, and I guess the situation is getting sorted. But for right now, he's wearing blue. I don't know. You guys got any take on the Campeones?
I wasn't able to watch the game, but I followed it online, and I was also like, oh, I don't know, this isn't a good start. But then they came back, and you're like, it's the champions, you can't. Because we all know 2-0 is a dangerous scoreline.
Jeremy Marquez had a good game. Do you guys think that he's gonna be part of Rafa Marquez's era? Do you think
he should be? Today he started as a right back, but he's also a center midfielder. He's good on the ball. And he's also good off the ball. Came in clutch, 2 late goals, and he ended the last tournament hot. So I'm excited for him. I think he's like 24 years old. He made his name with Atlas. Now Cruz Azul's got him. He's a good player. I like him, and I'd love to see him for La Selección. Because he's quick. We need more fast players. We never have enough of those.
Yeah, that was one of the factors against England. We just didn't have guys that could keep up with those really fast players. Okay, so you got Cruz Azul. So then another results, Atlas, which they're in turmoil. So they had, I think the day before the game they had hired Hernan Crespo to substitute Coca. So
legend.
They had I don't know. It's just I think we know Crespo because of his playing days. But it's just a random hiring. It's like when Pachuca brought Palermo. It was like the guy just is like, why? But why? Why are you gonna do that? Just give a Mexican guy a chance. Why are you gonna do that? If they're not proven, why? I mean, Milito with Chivas, he had already a run. Like you would talk to people in Argentina, and they could give you stuff about his coaching style and stuff like that. With Crespo, is just what they talk about is his playing days. But I don't know. We'll see.
I just think it's crazy that they let their coach go, 3 days before.
Yeah. But I think it has more to do because they switched ownership and it's.
But they couldn't have figured that out.
Hey,
a while back.
It does look amateurish.
This is Liga MX.
I know.
I have a couple. I'm pretty sure I have a couple more years. Get used to it. This is Liga MX. If you want logical choices, it's not here. It's not. So another results we got. So obviously Atlas they beat Leon 3-2. Then we got Puebla beating Juarez, and then we have. I don't know if you guys got any input on this one. We got Pachuca 3-0 over Pumas. Which Navas, poor Navas. I think it's going to be a long season for Pumas and Pachuca. I think Pachuca's gonna. They got Solari, which is the Pumas, or is it the other way around?
Solari's at Pumas now. He was the Pachuca coach.
Okay. So he got 3 in by his old team. So Pachuca,
which is
Pachuca,
that team is Pumas is. It's a disappointment. That's what I predict. Disappointment.
They're going to be disappointment.
Well,
I like to throw this word.
Why did they let Juarez just walk?
No, but you know what the thing, Juarez and
why did they let Carrillo walk? Which thank you, he's not with Chivas. But how do you let him walk? Because they didn't want to pay that money.
But it's Pumas.
Which is like
it's Pumas.
True.
It's Pumas.
One thing I want to point to for Pumas is that they were without their best player, in my opinion, which is Viti, the Ecuadorian midfielder. He was nowhere to be found. I think they gave him the match off, and I think it's because he's on the move. So I think more than Juarez, more than Jordan Carrillo, they're missing their best two-way midfielder in Viti for Ecuador. So I think that's the gaping hole. They did buy some jovenazos. We'll go more into them later, but they're betting on the young, and that almost always blows up in your face. They can be, not consistent. And so I think we're in for a disappointing season for Pumas, just like how Melissa said.
But you know what? But you know what? Good at Pachuca. Benjamin Mora has Pachuca. the guy we talked about in the last episode is a well-traveled man, and we need more Mexican coaches to have good runs, and good for him. He started off on the right foot, and then talking about the starting on the right foot. Matias Almeida made his comeback to Mexico after leaving Chivas 8 years ago, where he won the hearts of every Chiva hermano. But now he's wearing other pinstripes. He traded the red pinstripes for blue ones, and he got off on a good start, beating Santos Laguna, which it's. If there's ever a bottom-feeding team in Liga MX, it has to be Santos. But you guys got any takes on El Pelado's comeback to Mexico?
It looks good. It looks good. I just want to go back on what I said earlier. VT did play. He's just not in the good form that we all saw last tournament. So I just wanted to clarify that.
VT also, I think he's still feeling the World Cup fracaso. So.
Yeah, but as for El Pelado, I for one am not sore that he's back in Liga MX coaching another team other than Chivas. I'm happy for him. What's interesting to me is that he started Tecatito as the center attacking
Prime,
midfielder,
huh?
and he got a goal.
We're still going with that, huh? Tecatito
Yeah.
Prime.
Tecatito Prime, man. Is this Tecatito Prime 2.0? That's what grabbed my attention. And then, of course, he did have Iker Fimbres and who's the other guy, the tall guy? His dad was a coach. Ambriz. Ambriz.
Okay.
So
you know what?
the two jovenazos off the bench.
And you
So,
know what,
like,
Ricardo? No, go for it. Ricardo.
Monterrey has quality. They got rid of Canales, but Cara Sucia Ocampos had 2 goals. And then what's it called? So like there's quality in this squad. I'm interested to see what El Pelado does, but Monterrey, perpetual losers, man. They always choke. So I don't think they're gonna win it.
They spend a lot, and they swing for the fences. I think Matias they finally found the guy. And I don't know if you saw a couple days ago they said that Orbelin Pineda, one of Almeida's old reliables, he had him in Chivas and he had him in Greece. He's going to be joining the team, so he's bringing people with him to help him.
That team has always been talented. They always have the talent.
They
just always choke. They just can't find the right coach.
Yeah.
I think they actually found it with Matias.
I mean, Aguirre, Bucetich. Well, Bucetich is a guy that comes in and out, but then they tried with El Tan Ortiz, and they brought a guy from Spain that I don't remember right now. But it's but I think Matias is the guy. Even though it's gonna hurt Chivas. Imagine that, guys. Imagine the final. Chivas going for la 13 against Pelado and Monterrey. Oh my God, man.
We always beat Monterrey at their stadium, so I would love that. I would love that. But the thing is, we do have to put a grain of salt on it. It's against Santos, who's been, trash for like 2 years now. And so the Jovenazo project at Santos is over. I think there was only one 23 or younger player or two that played for this game. So like it is a different Santos than we're accustomed to seeing over the last year and a half.
Does not care? Because it's so funny because the son when he took over, I remember he talked and he still talks about how we're going to like revamp this team and we care. Like he says all these words and then nothing.
So they owned Atlas, right? And they opted to sell Atlas and not Santos, even though Atlas is more storied. Santos has the better facilities. It's in a smaller market. But they opted to keep Santos and sell Atlas. And so I do think they do care about it. They just have a funny way of showing it.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Chivas. Let's talk about Chivas. They didn't get off on a good foot, losing to Toluca 2-0. What's in your mind here, guys? How do you rate this loss? What did you take?
Luis Romo. What Romo? I don't even know what to say about him. Because he's just I don't know.
And Romo
it's the first game, so I'm not super sad, but
And I'm glad you brought Roma because Roma was one of the others of the seleccionados that got the start. We got Guti and I don't know. I was talking to Rifado yesterday and I don't know. Guti's in a funk. Yeah. Why? What do you think? Why, Rifado? Why is our great Guti not feeling it?
So, the squads haven't been training together. They lost 5 guys, and now, a lot of those World Cup bound players are back. So, and it is the first match. Honestly, for me, it's on Sepulveda. He got that red card, left us a man down. And that was unfortunate, like against someone with the quality of Los Diablos of Toluca. It just doesn't bode well, no matter how good our squad is. Like, this is the bicampeón of Turco Mohamed. Like, they're not going to lay down for us. And then you have La Ley del Ex with Eric Gutierrez and Alexis Vega scoring a penalty.
Yeah.
It was an unlucky night for us, but I'm undaunted. I still believe in this project. A little hiccup, just to give the listeners some context. In 2010 Spain, they lost their first match against Switzerland, and then in this World Cup, where they're the champs again, they tied their first match against Cabo Verde. So it's not about how you start; it's about how you finish. And this is just a bump in the road.
Exactly.
Do you look at it that way too, Melissa? Do you think,
Yeah,
it's
that's
jornada
true.
uno?
I was upset, but then I was like, you know what? It's the first week. If they're playing like that, when it's like 13th, 14th week, you're like, okay, something's going on here. But yeah.
You know what?
Not
I was worried
panicking
about?
yet.
Good. Let's, listener, don't panic yet. But one thing that did worry me a little bit was the lack of the crowd. There was a lot of empty seats. And that was a little baffling because
people are pooped out with soccer, man. It's a lot. It
that
was
might be it.
A lot of soccer on beaks over there in
Maybe.
Mexico. A lot of going on. But this usually happens. It's usually like I've seen it like since 2002. These first 2 jornadas, they're slow. The fans are back to get into groove because and especially so right now since it was literally the 2 tournaments overlapped. It's like you're still coming off that high of 100 games in 5 weeks, so it's kind of okay, and then going back to the stadium and it's gonna take a while, and then obviously they're gonna need some wins to entice the people, but
one thing that has me worried is El Armando Hormigo Gonzalez. I love the guy. 23 years old, one of our top goal scorer last tournament, but he ended the tournament with like a lack of goals. I think he went like 5 games without scoring. Then he didn't score all throughout the World Cup. He only played 1 game, late on for South Africa, I should say. So he hasn't had a good summer tournament. He didn't end the tournament strong for Chivas. He needs goals. I need him to get his confidence back, and I need it, ASAP. So that's the one thing that's troubling me right now. And then, you look at the other striker in Sepulveda, and what does he do? He gets his red card, and it's like, what is this, amateur hour? I could excuse a young player, but a veterano like Sepulveda, no se la puedo perdonar.
So we get it was a gloomy night. Do you guys have any positives? Any Melissa, Rival, any positives that you could take away? Or
The seleccionados are back.
We're just gonna write it off as jornada uno and
Yeah.
like,
So I will say this: the 2-0 is not doesn't paint a just picture of how the match was. Like Toluca ceded possession to us after scoring 1 goal, and
what
then
about
us
the penal?
getting that red
The penal,
card.
do you agree with the penal? I saw
No.
some controversy there.
I thought it was soft.
Melissa thought it was soft.
It's my Chivas bias, maybe, but I didn't see.
You
Why do
would
you
have
go
called
like
it.
this?
You
Oh my
would have
god.
not called it, huh? You would have not
I
called
don't.
it. You would have not called it.
My
You were-
Chivas is saying, hell no, that was not a penalty.
There you go.
But they're
Melissa,
like taking it back from
Melissa,
it. I'm like,
take your Chivas fanhood to the side. If you were the ref, would you have called it?
yes.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's telling. Okay, I guess agree. You and Rifado have to agree to disagree. Okay.
But back to the positives. We were like we looked close to tying it. We did with a man down. And so we still look good. We were playing in their half and they hit us in the counterattack late on and it was 2-0 and it was over in the 74th when Gallardo scored the second for Toluca, right? But before that, we were pushing it and we were close. And so I don't think the scoreline reflects that. And it's a sorry consolation prize, but it does show us that this team was fighting for a very long time and against all odds. So
A
I
lot of
am
bright
hopeful.
moments.
Okay. Now let's move on to what capped off the Jornada Uno. Querétaro, America beats Querétaro 1-0 with a goal from a guy that I had mentioned was like one of the main guys for America this season, Isaías Violante. He scored. How do you get Melissa? You cover America. Give us your thoughts on the match.
Well, America, honestly, I will say this. They were lucky that it was against Querétaro and not against another team who can actually finish their chances.
Yeah, I heard
Because the Gallos just could not. They had so many chances. You're like, oh, this is going in. And fallaron, like, all of them. So I think if it was a different team, even if it was León, I still think, like, they had people who could actually finish. I think it would have been a way different storyline. But this America, like just a year ago, when you would see their starting 11, you would be like, "Oh shoot, like that's kind of scary." And you looked at this starting 11 from last night, and you're like, "What? Who are these people?" There's no more scary. Like even Henry Martin, you look at him, and you're like, he's not scary anymore,
and you know
which
what?
is sad.
Yeah,
It is.
And talking about Henry Martin, Rifaldo, this one's for you. What do you take away? Everybody was. I know our friend from Cantina, Little Hat Trick, was building up Salas, and then Almada. He just had. I don't know. He like. I don't know what he sees in Henry. I mean, people were already. A lot of people already had Henry in as well, but. He's for at least for the Jornada Uno he was the main guy and Patas I mean Pato Salas was he was the second thought. I mean, what's your take on this situation?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's too early to see to say that like Almada doesn't rate Pato Salas, and it just goes against the grain of the image that Almada has built, or should I say cultivated. He thrives with the jovenazos. It's the jovenazos that take to his very stringent and demanding tactics. And so we do see it with players like Miguel Vasquez, with Espinoza, with Violante, right? So he likes these young guys. He's playing young guys, but I don't know why he opted for old man Henry Martin, who's been MIA for the past year, and not Pato Salas, who ended the last tournament strong and looked good under Jardinet. So I'm interested in that, and then I'm interested to see Vega. We saw bits of him last tournament. He shined, the Brazilian. There was some controversy with our payment to his club. I forget their club, but they were like, "Hey, you haven't paid us." But it and that segues to something that I want to ask this our Huilas expert Melissa. What can you tell us about this new administration? We have new owners at Club América, and it looks like things have changed. And I want to know your thoughts on that.
I just don't get like how you let Andre Jardine go. He look at everything he won for you in 2 years, and it was obvious too. They didn't see eye to eye. Jardine, like he was so frustrated because he had a certain vision. I guess after all of the Estrellas left, like Quiñones after he left,
It a standard.
Yeah. And I think the front office just, for some wild reason, did not see what he saw, which is weird. It's like he obviously has proven himself time and time again what he can do as a coach, and he brought you so many trophies, but you still would not give him what he asked for. What I just don't understand. And so I think it got to the point where Jardine was like, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. Yeah. You aren't giving me what this team needs. So like he left, and I don't think they're like the front office is really upset about that. They're like, okay, bye, which is weird to me. How do you
Well,
say
it
the
was
guy
mutual.
that
It was
won you 6
mutual,
plus
no?
trophies?
It was like
It was mutual,
this is not
mutual.
look, this is
Kind of
not
in a way.
working out. We should see other people.
So
In a way,
Jardine
it
still
is.
doesn't have work. You know, there
No.
was so many rumors that a grande of Brazilian Serie A was going to come in for him. That there were offers from Europe, but nothing is manifested. And the seasons are starting. You know, so like it leads me to believe that it wasn't mutual and that it was le tendieron la cama.
Yeah, because they weren't gonna give him what he wanted, which, like I said, it's really weird how you give your winningest coach in like a decade.
Well,
just
the,
be like,
the
bounce.
dynamics of the front office is changing, and like
Yeah.
the other day, me and Rifal were saying that they don't do big money, they do smart money. So and
basically.
you know, Almada's a good coach. Almada's
Yeah.
a very good coach. So they're gonna. I think they're gonna figure something out. And
They have a
I
lot
think
of
this is a
jovenazos.
weird restarting, right? Restart in a way. Like
Yeah,
he said,
and-
he loves youngsters, so he might. This is probably like a new cycle for America, so they're probably gonna struggle a lot for the next couple of years until they get things going under him. So,
But you know,
yeah.
it's not like Jardine wasn't good with the jovenazos. What's it called? I remember. I think it was last tournament or the tournament before that. I think it was the first 2 or 3 games he only played with the youth squad. So it's not like he was ignoring the young players. He was integrating them.
And they did well.
Yeah, yeah. And so you know, it just leads me to believe that it's more than what they're saying, and that you know, they obviously didn't see eye to eye like you were saying.
Yeah.
And you know
Probably,
what?
yeah, they wanted to restart, and they're like, perfect, our opportunity to do that.
And you know what? And as far as splashy hires, I mean, we were there. Everybody was talking about Luis Chavez and Borja Iglesias, who was a champion today. And then the news coming out in the last days is that those negotiations fizzled. So I guess for any notable hires, you get America fans have to look elsewhere. We were talking with Rifado the other episode that Borja Iglesias may not have been a big name player, but you know, he was an important player to come. An important player. He would be an important player for Liga MX and for America. And unfortunately, that's not gonna happen. And we'll see what la directiva del grupo or what is it or Yalmali what they'll cook up from here to the Sierra de Traspasos. Okay, guys. So that
I did have one question for you
No,
guys.
go
I
for it,
want
go for it.
So going back to the Tigres Tijuana game, what do you think about that red card? El Buffalo covering
Oh,
his
the
mouth
Buffalo.
and that rule.
I hate that rule.
But
I don't
it's
know.
necessary because then you have shenanigans where these guys are shouting out racist stuff, and you know, hey, like one of our friends in the other chat said, like, hey, say it with your chest if you're gonna say it. Like, why cover your mouth? I think it's if you're gonna say it, and you know, if it's bad, then you deserve that right. And I think
Did he
I
just
like it.
forget? Did he just
I
forget?
think so.
Well, it's going to be that
think
transitional.
It's not
gonna
just
be
him. It's a lot of
transitional
people.
thing, yeah. It's going to be a
UEFA
But you-
isn't doing it apparently.
Oh no.
No.
Well,
That's
good
what
for
I
them.
was reading, that they didn't want to do it.
So one thing I will say is that I think the red is too harsh. You destroy a game. The game is forever changed
So like
after
a
you do
yellow.
that. Yeah, I think a yellow would be more appropriate, you know, because it's too much too soon. So I just don't agree with it. But, you know, I do agree with the point that Albert says. We can't let these people be racist or like allow them to get away with being racist.
They'll
And so,
probably change it. They'll probably change it to a yellow, like after a while.
No,
when
I
they
think they're
realize,
missing
like,
the point. They're gonna make a point with it, and that's
Yeah.
it is what it is. They're gonna have the players are gonna have to be smart with it.
But if the reports are true that UEFA isn't going to implement that, then what's the point? Because that's
Yeah,
where it
there's a
all
lot of
started
things. Yeah, it's,
in
you know,
UEFA. So
That's it is interesting, but we'll see how it plays out, Melissa. We'll see. It's very controversial. That's one of the
Yeah.
controversial things. That and the hydration breaks. Hey, how refreshing was it, Melissa, to watch a Liga MX game, the first game in 5 weeks without those pesky breaks? It was
oh
refreshing,
my
wasn't
God, yes. It's just we all know what it was. It was all.
it? Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they said that Fox recouped recoup their investment in the World Cup just with the hydration break. So it's profitable. It's profitable. It's here to stay, and like just like with the red card, it's.
I don't think it would because in the U.S. it's all about money, money. But yet in other nations it's not like that. So I think the
FIFA.
other nations.
But it's FIFA. It's
Well, yeah,
FIFA.
but I feel like other nations would fight back against it.
Hey,
here in the U.S.
Infantino's going. How many teams they want to do, Rifado? They want to do 62 teams.
I don't know, man. I think
They
the
wanna make it
Infantino
into
era.
pachanga?
I think the Infantino era is coming to an end.
I heard
think
a report
UEFA wants
recently
his
that
head.
a bunch of countries are now backing him.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
You know,
I heard that
it's
too.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they're
Game of
mad
Thrones.
for the exact same reasons that we're discussing. That's I read too that they're not.
But have
they're
a
not
backbone. Like if you don't like, have a backbone.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
just-
you know, in a funny episode today, did you guys see when he told Trump that he couldn't be on the when they were celebrating? He told him like, you know how
He's
you
trying
know,
to pull him off.
you know, like in the
Yeah.
And Rodri was giving him the side eye.
you know, it's like like
funny.
so, I think Martín de Palacio said que era ese tío, ese don en la boda and the weddings that is butting into the pictures and you just ask him to leave. That's what it was. So we'll leave it. We'll leave that at that. And you know what? For everybody that's sad because the World Cup and Jornada Uno is ending. Well, we can't do much about the World Cup, but Liga MX we could do a lot about it because they're back this Tuesday with right. It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Jornada
Just a couple of games. I think just 2 games. No?
It's the Jornada, but Jornada 2 starts Tuesday. We got we're gonna see the campeón against versus.
And that's
Puebla.
all we get, and then the League's
That's
Cup
a Friday.
starts, no?
Yeah. So
Right?
I think something like that. We gotta.
Because the 5th is the Chivas one.
We gotta. We're gonna look into it right now, Melissa. But let me tell you this. The Cruz Azul, they go back to Estadio Azteca after a week where they were homeless again. They're back.
Why didn't they get the Ciudad de los Deportes? I thought that's what they were going for.
Well, because they were able to work out a new deal with their landlords, Club América, the Grupo Oramani. So they were able to I think one of the issues was that they weren't going to get 1 cent on concessions, and teams need that. And also, I think the rent went up, but I think they settled it, and they're making their splashy Estadio Azteca, Estadio Banorte debut this Tuesday against Puebla, and then we have a nice matchup on the same day at Estadio Nemesio Diaz. We got Toluca versus Pumas. All right, and then we go. The jornada continues on Friday. We got Tigres versus San Luis, Tijuana León, Atlanta América. That's interesting. And then we got sábado. We got Guadalajara Juárez. I mean, Estadio Akron. I mean, Chivas should win. No? They should win. And then domingo we have Necaxa Monterrey, Pachuca Querétaro. And Pachuca Querétaro ends night. And as far as the Leagues Cup, which you mentioned, that is going to be played at the beginning of August, and it will be a weekday tournament. So it shouldn't affect your weekly jornadas. So and then
No, I think they're pausing. They
They're
did
pausing
that
a
last
little
week.
Maybe,
They did that last year, so they're probably gonna do it this year because Chivas plays on a weekday.
Chivas going to play on all the games are going to be played on a weekday, and hopefully me and Rifado, or I don't know if you're in LA, me and Rifado are trying to make it out.
You guys are in LA?
Yeah.
No
I'm in
way.
San Diego, but
Oh, it's in San
not
Diego.
too far.
I'm near LA. Yeah. So we're trying to make it that Wednesday. We're trying to make it out to.
I haven't heard from the accreditation yet, but I did apply for.
Oh, okay. So we'll meet up.
Hopefully we'll see you there,
over
Melissa.
We'll pot over there.
So we'll see how long they take. It's been like a week, but they're typically really slow.
But the deadline's up to the 28th. So.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay, so now moving off jornada the Liga MX Masculina. Let's hopefully hopefully this becomes a weekly thing or a regular thing. Maybe not weekly, but regular thing. We here at the Mexican Futbol Pod, we believe in being a pod for everybody. So we want to give women's soccer. We want to give them their due space, And that's why we have Melissa here, who's an expert, and she could guide us along in the world of Liga MX Femenil and the Mexican national soccer team. So we'll have Rifado take it away here.
Melissa, I just want to thank you again for coming on. And I wanted to ask you, there's been a few changes implemented in the structure of Liga MX Femenil. And we have a change in the league where starting this tournament, right, it will be divided into 2 groups of 9 teams each, with the goal of slightly reducing travel for some of these teams. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. It's been fun to jump on here. I'm like, oh, we've been talking for a while now. I love it. But Liga MX Femenil right now, honestly, is just a little frustrating. Because just back in May, the league had come out with numbers and saying basically that Liga MX Femenil across all platforms, not just in Mexico, but all around the world, was the most watched league in the entire world, surpassing the NWSL, surpassing WSL. And everybody, we were cheering for that. It was amazing to see that. And now, just, 2-3 months later, we're going backwards. That's what it feels like. Because the league, when it started in 2017, it started as groups, which is understandable because it was a new league, But now, with so much growth, there's no reason to go back to groups.
I
I
think
don't
it comes
understand.
to cost. I think it comes to cost. So if you group the 2 teams, I mean the all the teams into 2 groups, and they only have to face the teams in this pot and then the other ones in that pot, then they don't have to travel all across Mexico.
Yeah.
And so I think they save some in travel costs. But like, I'm wondering, like, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Argentina. Now that they're broke, they're doing a similar thing for their league. And I'm wondering if they were inspired by Argentina, but you're saying they started off like this, so it's not even the first time they've done this.
No, it's when it started, and like I said, I get it when you first started because you don't really know how the league's going, you don't know how competitive teams are, but as we've grown, you see that there are teams who are very competitive, others who aren't, and that goes back to like the whole money thing you were talking about. It's because the sad part is that some teams just do not care about the women's team. The only reason they have one is because the federation, the league said, well, if you're going to play in Liga MX, you have to field the women's team. So they just don't want to spend that money. And so they're probably like, oh, well, let's go into groups. And that way we don't have to like spend as much money now. And there were actually rumors that the reason why it's actually taken so long for the calendar to come out, which the league already said, like, oh, yeah, I think on Friday, they were like, sorry, be patient. We'll come out with the calendar in a couple of days. So I think probably by tomorrow, the next day, they're going to come out with the actual calendar. But rumors were that there were 5 clubs who were thinking of not fielding a women's team this season.
So
Don't know how true that is. But that's what the rumors.
It was announced that male clubs in Liga MX will no longer be required to have a women's team, right? And so the way they're trying to spin this is that it opens the door to new investors to invest in Liga MX teams. So instead of like, let's say Puebla, supporting their team, like now someone else can buy the rights and then invest in it. But I don't know if it's going to work out like that. So, can you tell me a little more about this, or maybe this is still developing?
Yeah, something's still developing, and it's like I get the side of why they want to do it, because then you could see which clubs will actually go all in on a women's team. And it's really sad when you look at someone like when Mazatlan was there and how they would treat their women's team, and you're like, it's obviously they don't want one, so why are you forcing them to have one? Or someone like Santos, Puebla. So, if now that they don't have to have a women's team, you'll see who's really gonna step up, and maybe that gives maybe you'll have someone like Morelia come back on the women's side. Can you imagine that? You get the women's team back, not the men's side.
Jaguares. There's someone like that.
You imagine that? But
I know one of the issues you had on your one of your comments that you made on your X page was that the tournament's so close and they didn't even have a calendar yet. Explain to us.
Yeah, so until Friday when they finally made that announcement on their socials, like, hey, don't worry guys, we're gonna have it out now. But yeah, all teams knew was that the date was going to be kicking off on the 31st. And even then, I don't remember. I think one of my friends pointed it out that somewhere there were rumors floating like that, but I don't think anyone officially said that the 31st was the date. It was just something that like was rumored, and then they finally like confirmed it. So it's like that to me feels like a really big disrespect. Like, what do you mean? And especially the qualifiers for the Women's World Cup is coming up in November.
Yeah, in November. Yeah.
And the majority of the players that represent Mexico play in Mexico. So how are you going to then limit the competition and the competitiveness by having groups? Because it does limit the competitiveness, because now you're not going against the best of the best in the country. But when the majority of the players representing Mexico play in Mexico, but now they're not going to go against strong opponents anymore, when that match against Haiti is the most important match ever.
Yeah,
they have been gone from the World Cup for 12 years.
You're winning your end.
That's all it is. And they have a chance to make it to the Olympics, too.
Because
since the U.S. is hosting, it gives them an extra chance. So it's like, this is such a big, important game. And they need to be at their top of the level by playing against the most competitive teams. So it's kind of like really frustrating. So I know that,
But Melissa, like you said, it's frustrating and it takes wins out of your sails. Like you said, it's like you have a good chance. Well, it's been a good year for Liga MX Femenil. I mean, you have the viewership. You have Club América beating an American team, beating Gotham for the CONCACAF, which that's pretty huge. And then, like you said,
and now they have a spot in the Club World Cup because of that.
Yeah. And then you have all that good energy, and then you have stuff like them reforming the league for travel, not having a calendar. Maybe those two things are tied. As you as a woman and as a fan and as an expert, how does that make you feel?
Just really upset. I'm trying to be like, okay, let me see the positive, the good side. Yeah, let me see. Hopefully, though, at least with the viewership, like the streaming and the platforms, hopefully that stays the same and it doesn't make things more limited. So, obviously, everybody like very much agrees that like the group thing is terrible, but I'm hoping that at least with viewership, they're still able to stream things. And it's still hard to stream things, even on the men's side. So many different like streamings and everything.
Oh, I
and
hate
so
it.
with the women's, it's like the same thing too. But hopefully the streams, they still continue, and hopefully they can put more games on YouTube, because it's not every single game.
Yeah.
It's a good chunk of them, but not every single game. So hopefully they can continue with the viewership and it continues to climb. So at least hopefully the accessibility doesn't disappear.
And you know what? It's frustrating too, because if you look at it, my friend Edward Cowich from the LA Times, which we're gonna have on here so he could give us his World Cup reflections. He interviewed Michael Arriola 4 years ago, and Michael was very positive about Liga MX. He was saying that was our diamond in the rough. That was gonna be a lifeline for Mexican soccer, because it was untapped potential. But 4 years later, we have stuff like this. So it's I would imagine the Liga MX, like I told you, the Liga MX Femenil fans and women national team fans, they're gonna be a little disheartened.
I agree. I agree. But I think about this. The Santos. I think it was the director was talking about how they had to reschedule all their Femenil Santos games for the day, or they were trying to do that because every time they hosted them at night, they were in the red. They weren't turning a profit.
Because of the lights and stuff like that. Yeah, it's
because of the lights. And so like, a lot of these teams, like I think like the Regios, Club América, the champions, like they're meeting their fiscal benchmarks, like flying colors. The highs are high, but the lows are low, and some of these teams are bleeding, and they're looking to staunch the wounds, and they don't know how. So they're opening it up to investments, and hopefully that buds fruit. But if not, hopefully someone like the Mexican government can come in and take care of Femenil, I've heard some rumors of that. Shane Baum was talking about opening 2,000 schools to find the next Gil Mora, right? But like, what about the ladies? Like, shouldn't they play as well? Like,
you need the next Marta. You need a Marta in Mexico.
Exactly, exactly. And so I think Femenil is at a crossroads. I'm interested to see where it goes, and I hope it's not into the dustbin of history, because I do enjoy watching it. I have a few favorites. There's someone I'm from Santa Ana, California. So Janelli Farias is someone that I've always supported. And I see her, like, I think at Fox now. Yeah. So, there's people that are talented on and off the pitch. And I want to continue to see that, blossom. And so I don't think I'm alone in that. But, it's such a weird time for Femenil now that the restructuring is happening.
Well, when you said like the bleeding and everything like that, I do agree with that. You also obviously got to look at the numbers, but I'm curious to know, were these teams actually trying though to stop the bleeding, or were they just question. We're just like, how else are you going to get seats, filled? Are you going out there and promoting, like, people will go, so it's it's any kind of marketing.
Is there an effort into
this? Exactly. Yeah. So they're like, look at it, it's bleeding. Well, did you do anything to really try to stop it and to make it good? Like, if you go out, it's like any other product. If you launch a product and you don't have any marketing and it fails, you're not like, oh shoot, it failed. You look back and be like, okay, what can we do different? If you don't give it any marketing at all and don't try with it, it's going to fail.
It's going to take a while, but it's if the effort's there. Look at the WNBA. They went from also being subsidized by NBA teams, from having issues, to now they have a prime slot on ESPN. It's WNBA Sundays. Caitlin Clark is not a female athlete. She's one of the most recognizable names in American sports, period. So it's like, if the effort's there, it's going to happen, but there just need to be effort. That's the way I don't know. You see,
might be some time. It'll take some time, but going to be positive and hoping that this is just a little, little bump in the road.
Mm-hmm. So unless anybody has anything for the road that you want to get off your minds, I mean, this is a good time to. It's been a great talk, great Sunday. We won World Cup, we won Liga MX, we won women's soccer. We brought a new voice into the pod. Hopefully, it's the first of many. We know you have a busy schedule, but we wanna make this a regular thing with you on the podcast. You bring a lot. So unless anybody has anything to say, I bid you guys farewell for the evening.
Thank you for having me on. And if anyone who's listening, watching, is thinking about going into and being a fan of Liga MX, Femenil, whatever, of Mexican soccer in general, Liga MX is a very chaotic league. You're gonna love it. Okay, you're gonna love it.
Yeah. Melissa, please plug your stuff. Give us your X handle and where they could find your work.
Twitter. It's not X. I will never call it
all right,
X.
Call it whatever you want. Where we can find you.
Well, you can find all my socials are basically, they're all the same across. I have like every social media. It's Miss MISS Meli Castro. So you guys can find me there on anything, and you'll catch my stories on FMFStateOfMind.com, on SB Nation, covering just anything Mexican soccer. I cover Club América, and yes, I know I'm a Chivas fan, but you got to do the work. It's just, it is what it is.
Okay. And Rifaldo, tell them where they could find you and where they could find this podcast, the Mexican Futbol Podcast.
So look for the Mexican Futbol Podcast, spelled FUTBOL. But the Mexican Futbol Podcast on YouTube, on Spotify, on Twitter Spaces. I mean, not Twitter Spaces, but Twitter or X, as some people, begrudgingly call it. And on more sites, we're going to expand. This is our third inaugural episode, and we're very happy to be here. I want to thank Melissa. I want to go ahead and play some applause for her.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. How do I stop this?
Oh my God, it's getting rowdy. It's a hit. It's like, oh my God, just call it the Melissa
I
Podcast. Call
had
it the
to stop
Melissa
it. Sorry, guys.
Hey, it's so amazing when we can get even more podcasts, more people talking about Mexican soccer. You know, in English. I
Rifaldo,
think
with
it's
that
awesome.
with that response, just call it the Melissa Podcast for now. That was just too much. It was overwhelming. And you could
But
find
yeah,
me on
oh,
one.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You could find me on one Albert Perez on X. Go for it, Rifaldo. Take us home.
I just want to, thank all the listeners. The numbers have been great. We appreciate you guys tuning in, and here's to many more. And with that, I'll bid you all adieu. Thank you for listening, Melissa. Thanks again, Albert. Appreciate you. You're the best co-host man could ask for. And everyone have a great one. And arriba las Chivas. All right.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Take it easy.